Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jodie, and in this video I'm going to be hopping on the trend or the tag video started by Ollie over at OllieLovesFilms, and that tag video is the top 10 films from the 21st century. So basically, like, what do I think are my favorite top 10 favorite films from the 21st century. So a massive shout out to Ollie for getting this tag video going. I've been absolutely loving seeing everyone else's response videos to these, and just some absolutely fantastic films kind of being mentioned in those videos. So yeah, massive shout out to Ollie for getting this tag video going. And I think I was specifically tagged by Tim over at Tim's Film Waffles. So again, massive shout out to Tim, and thank you so much for tagging me in this. It was just one of these ones that I just could not resist kind of hopping on the trend. And yeah, I just want to kind of start my video as well by just saying a massive hello to basically all of my subscribers and anyone that watches my videos. So as you may or may not have noticed, I've been on a little bit of a YouTube break. It was actually lasted a little bit longer than I wanted it to, so I do apologize for that. But it's been mainly because I've been in the process of moving house, and yeah, I am finally at the end of, like, I would say stressful. It's just kind of more very kind of hectic and very kind of time consuming. The last week was pretty stressful, but at long last we are in the house. I am broadcasting right now from my kitchen, so I do apologize if the audio quality is not great. It's just going to be a little bit echoey. I will be setting up my movie room very soon. I hopefully will have someone coming this week to assemble my IKEA furniture. I have 6 Billy bookcases kind of ready to go, and DIY is not my forte, so there is someone coming to do that for me. So hopefully that should be put together maybe this week, and then I'll get to start setting up my movie room and actually making videos from the movie room as well. So the quality will improve, I do promise that. So yeah, definitely thank you so much for bearing with me and for kind of staying subscribed and everything like that. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I'm just really looking forward to getting back into making some videos and just talking about movies, which is just my favorite thing in the world. So yeah, a massive hello to everyone that follows me, and yeah, without further ado, let's just get straight into the tag video. I am going to start out and this, yeah, like, you can say this is cheating if you want. It probably is a little bit of cheating, but I have quite a few honorable mentions that I want to talk about because there's just so many incredible films from the last 25 years. I actually also say the last 25 years, from looking at my list, every single film in my top 10 is from the first 10 years of the 21st century. So I don't even have any films from like the 2010s or 2020s. So do with that information what you will. It's kind of like my era. Like, I have a lot of nostalgia for films from the first 10 years of the 21st century. So that's just kind of the way my list ended up going. So yeah, I will just start out with some honorable mentions, and I mean, easily any of these could be in my top 10, but I had to be harsh and I had to relegate them to my honorable mentions. So starting out with oh yeah, and I also want to make the point that, and this is my last like little kind of diversion, but that all of my movies are still boxed up, so I'm not actually going to be showing any of the physical titles in this video, but I will try and put some pictures on the screen so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So yeah, starting off with my honorable mentions, and there's a couple of newer ones in my honorable mentions, and when I say new, I mean like 2017, which is like already like 10 years ago at this stage nearly. But yeah, the first of my honorable mentions is from 2015, and it is the fantastic Bridge of Spies with Tom Hanks and Mark Rylance. This is, if you haven't seen Bridge of Spies, I think for me it's one of Spielberg's most underrated films. It is an incredibly tense, like very thrilling at points, Cold War drama. It is just absolutely fantastic, and it's just a film that I think I watch it like once a year at this point, at least. It is just such a rewatchable film. I get more out of it every single time I watch it, and it's just so worth your time if you haven't seen it. If you think it's going to kind of be maybe like a boring political drama, no, it's not. It is fantastic and it's so worth your time. So Bridge of Spies is the first honorable mention. Next, another political kind of drama, thriller kind of action film. One I know Roy actually had in his top 10, and it is The Incredible Zero Dark 30 from 2009. Just an incredible tour de force political drama about the kind of the hunting for and the capture of Osama bin Laden. Just an absolutely fantastically thrilling film from start to finish. Incredible performance from Jessica Chastain, and there's one scene in particular that, as many times as I've seen this film, it just blows my mind every single time I see it. It's a scene with the actress Jennifer Ale. If you have seen that scene, you know which one I'm talking about. Just an incredible film, and again, just the rewatchability is just off the charts with this film. The next honorable mention I have, it's from 2006, and it is, I actually think I mentioned it as like one of my favorite action films of all time when I did like my top films in every genre video. And the film is Blood Diamond, directed by Edward Zwick. Just an incredible action-packed start to finish, just full on incredible action film, but again, like a very kind of politically charged drama, and kind of dealing with I guess, you know, like the title suggests, dealing with blood diamonds and how they're kind of sourced, and basically like the horror that is kind of endured in order for the West to have these diamonds on the market. And yeah, a very thrilling film, and again, it's just one I can watch over and over again. Then the next honorable mention, this is one I had it in my top 10, literally took it out at the last minute to swap something else in, but this is a film, came out in 2008. It was like really kind of really like talked about a lot, very popular at the time due to the actress in it winning Best Actress, and it kind of just vanished, I feel like, after that. People stopped talking about this film, so I feel like I need to get it back on people's radar. And the film in question is The Reader from, as I said, 2008, starring Kate Winslet, David Cross and Ray Fiennes. Just again, like, just an incredibly just stunning war film, or kind of post-war drama. Just absolutely stunning. The performances in this are just incredible. Such a simple story, but it just, the way it's told is just absolutely sensational. I feel like not enough people kind of talk about The Reader anymore, and I just really feel like people need to, if they haven't seen it, get onto it and make a point of watching it. And if it's one you haven't seen in a really long time, like, definitely make a point to check it out again. It holds up really well. It's so beautiful, and it's just a film I absolutely adore. So yeah, that was my next honorable mention, The Reader from 2008. And the next honorable mention, and I promise I'm getting near the end of my honorable mentions now. This is a film, it's probably not going to be everyone's cup of tea. It's a little bit kind of arty-farty, but I just think it's just, like, again, another just sensational film. Absolutely beautiful in terms of cinematography, story, setting, everything like that. And it is the film from Terrence Malick, The New World from 2005. Just an absolutely beautiful film, telling basically the story of Pocahontas, and basically Colin Farrell plays the character of John Smith, and kind of, you know, seeing his interactions with the Native Americans, and kind of how he meets Pocahontas and kind of falls in love with her. And it is just an absolutely beautiful film, and the music and everything in it is just absolutely perfection. So I could not talk about 21st Century without talking about that. Just absolutely incredible film. And then finally, we have from 2017. Again, I think I just wanted to talk about this film because it's just a film people don't talk about, and again, I just want to put it on people's radar. This is The Wife. So this one, as I said, from 2017, starring Glenn Close and Jonathan Pryce. And it's basically the story of a long suffering wife, kind of as the title suggests, and her husband is being given the Nobel Prize for Literature, but kind of from what we start to learn, he may not kind of be actually responsible for the material that he has that he is believed to have written, and kind of how that kind of manifests within their relationship. And yeah, it's just an incredible drama, a family drama, like a relationship kind of drama, and just seeing kind of how that plays out. A very intimate film, but it's just absolutely beautiful, and the performances, as you can imagine, especially from Glenn Close, the performances are just absolutely sensational. So again, it's just one, it's right up there for me in terms of the best films I've seen from this century so far, and the ones that I kind of rewatch the most. So could not do this video without talking about The Wife. So yeah, those were my honorable mentions. I'm sorry that went on a little bit longer than I wanted, but yeah, without further ado, I'm just going to get into the top 10. Okay, so then for my top 10, look, I tried to put these in order, it didn't work. So these are just in no particular order. This is just going to be the order that I kind of wrote them down in, because these are just all absolutely sensational films. They're all, just for me, they're like up there in terms of some of my favorite films of all time. And as I mentioned before, they're all from the first 10 years of the 21st century. So yeah, definitely let me know down below what your thoughts are on all these films. Would they be in your list? Definitely let me know what you think. So the first film, this was actually just the first one that I thought of, and it's just one that just is always kind of up there for me in terms of some of the greatest films of this time period, and some of my favorite films of all time. And that film is from 2005, Brokeback Mountain, directed by Ang Lee. Yeah, look, I know people like to take the piss out of this film, and especially people that haven't seen the film like to take the piss out of this film. And yeah, while that's all in good fun, I do have to just say, if you haven't seen Brokeback Mountain, it is genuinely one of the most beautiful, moving, like heartbreaking kind of romance films, love stories just of all time. It is just absolutely sensational. Of course, as we know, this film stars Jake Gyllenhaal and Heath Ledger, and basically in this film they play these cowboys basically who go up onto Brokeback Mountain every summer, and their job is basically just to kind of watch these sheep and just make sure the sheep don't get killed. And so kind of as a result, they just basically end up spending a lot of alone time together. So we kind of get a really kind of interesting build up as to kind of how their relationship starts, and yeah, the relationship they form is just like, it's just absolutely beautiful to watch, and just how that kind of unfolds. But I think the most kind of interesting part of this film is like when you spend kind of such a long period of time with someone, you form such a bond, and like you know, they're almost kind of your best friend, you know, for such a period of time, and then you kind of have to go back to your own life. And obviously, like as you kind of see in the film, like it's a massive struggle for them to go back to their lives and their wives and their family. And you know, if you've kind of experienced I guess a certain type of love, a certain type of a relationship, for that to kind of to end is obviously like a shock to the system. So it's really interesting kind of seeing the two kind of halves of their life, and kind of the life they spend together and then the lives they kind of spend apart, is really, really interesting. And of course then there's a lot of heartbreak and a lot of just like kind of sadness in this film, but it's just so beautiful. It's heartbreaking, it's heart-wrenching. The music in this film, the soundtrack is just absolutely sensational. It just really kind of tugs at your heartstrings, and it's just like a beautiful, simplistic piece of filmmaking. And I just absolutely love it, and I never really want to put too much weight on like best picture winners, best, you know, this or that at the Oscars, because really it actually doesn't really matter. But like the fact that Crash won best picture in 2006, I think it was, over this film, I mean, it's just, it actually doesn't make any sense, because this is pure like Oscar worthy kind of greatness. So yeah, I have to include Brokeback Mountain on my list as one of the greatest films of the 21st century, in my opinion. If you haven't seen it, definitely get on it. Just kind of go in, you know, like non-biased, and just watch it and kind of just let the story kind of take you where it takes you, and it's just a beautiful experience. So yeah, Brokeback Mountain has to be on my list. Then the next film I picked, I'm not going to talk about it too much, because a few people that did these videos actually mentioned this film, so it's great to see that we're all on the same wavelength. I think Ollie had it on his list, Roy, I think maybe Roy might have had it on his list, and Tim definitely had it on his list. And the film is from 2001. It's the incredible Donnie Darko, again starring Jake Gyllenhaal. So he's in two of my favorite films from this time period. Yeah, just there's nothing else I really need to say about Donnie Darko, to be honest. It is just a fantastic film. It's like a mind-bending kind of sci-fi drama with just an incredible soundtrack. The soundtrack is just absolutely fantastic. I think Tim was talking about like which was like the preferred version of this to watch. I actually have kind of always just watched the director's cut. That was like the DVD version that I had growing up, and was always the director's cut, and I think I've only seen the theatrical cut once. So kind of just from like nostalgia, I prefer the director's cut, and I prefer like the music, you know, kind of where they place the music in the director's cut over the theatrical. But that's just my preference. You know, I might go back and watch the theatrical cut at some point and probably maybe like that as well, but or like that more, but for now I will just say that the director's cut is my favorite. But again, there's not really else I need to say about this film. It's just fantastic. I feel like it's one of these ones that even if you don't get it, it's just still does something to you, and it's still one you can kind of keep watching over and over again. I feel like you don't need to kind of fully understand what happens at the end to just really, I guess, just kind of get taken along for the ride and just kind of get lost in like the mood of it. Just an absolutely fantastic film, a cult classic at this point, and yeah, just a highly rewatchable film. So again, Donnie Darko just had to be on the list. So for my next pick, I'm going back again to 2005, and this was definitely like a big year for me in terms of kind of discovering films, and I guess, yeah, just kind of falling in love with film in general. I saw a lot of films around this time that have kind of stuck with me over the years, and this film just absolutely no exception. So this one, I would probably say to this day it's my favourite biopic, and the film in question is Walk the Line from yeah, as I said, from 2005, starring Joaquin Phoenix and Reese Witherspoon, and this of course being the biopic about Johnny Cash. And yeah, I don't really know what actually to say about this film other than it's just one of these films that just when I put it on, I just totally kind of get swept up in the story. It's just a story that that I really enjoy. I just actually love the performance from Joaquin Phoenix and what he brings to the character of Johnny Cash, and kind of how he portrays it. The music is just incredible in this film. There's just something about the way, I think it's James Mangold that made this film, just the way that he kind of tells the story, just the I don't know, there's just something that is just kind of irresistible to me about this film, that I love. I'm just drawn back to it all the time. And yeah, again, I love the performances, I love the music, I love the era that it's, you know, that it's set in, kind of across the 50s. I love seeing like all the other kind of famous people that we kind of see throughout the film, and kind of seeing them starting out, like Jerry Lee Lewis, Elvis Presley. It's such a such a fantastic kind of snapshot of kind of that time and that like period in music and kind of what that was like, and not just kind of following Johnny Cash but just kind of in general, like as a kind of cultural kind of moment. I just love seeing that unfold. Again, I think maybe the music for me is probably the most kind of the most notable thing. I just love the soundtrack, and I actually love Joaquin Phoenix's voice kind of singing the songs. I just think he just brings something fantastic to the role, and yeah, it's just one of these ones again I'll just come back to over and over and over again. I just absolutely love it. And it was one I went to see in the cinema. I think I went to see this like 3 or 4 times in the cinema because I just loved it so much. And yeah, as I said, it's just one I kind of will just kind of always revisit, and it's just kind of a story I just pretty much get lost in. So yeah, Walk the Line from 2005 has to be on my list, just one of my all-time favorite biopics. And then next on the list, this again, like when I think about films from this century so far, this is just one that always comes to mind. It was probably still to this day, even though it came out in 2008, it's still to this day probably my all-time favorite cinema experience, because again, I think I would have been 2008, I think I was 15, and this film like in the cinema just completely like blew me away, and it just, yeah, I think it just solidified for me why I love film and just the pure like magic of film. And the film in question is the incredible Slumdog Millionaire from Danny Boyle. Yeah, like what can I just say about this film again, except it just completely blew me away when I first saw it. It was kind of one of these films, like when I walked out of the cinema, I just said like that's my favorite film ever. And it was my favorite film for like a really long time, because it just absolutely took my breath away. Just the story, I know the story was based on a book, but just how Danny Boyle kind of brought that to life from the kind of childhood of the characters, and kind of right up until the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire kind of segments, and just kind of seeing this character all the way through his life. Of course, if you haven't seen Slumdog Millionaire, the story is basically about it's about a young kid from Mumbai who basically kind of finds himself on the Indian version of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and all of the questions that he gets, he kind of knows the answers because of something that happened in his life, and so he's kind of looking back throughout his life as he's getting asked these questions, and it is just an absolutely incredible film. I think again the fast-paced kind of nature of the film, I love the setting, it's set in Mumbai, and just seeing this kind of really just really kind of fast-paced, very raw, very kind of vibrant city and kind of setting. I just absolutely love that. The music in the background, like just some of the scenes just have absolutely fantastic music, kind of from of course the song Jai Ho, which is like kind of famous for being in this film, and then some of the music from like MIA, and there's some Bollywood songs and everything in this as well that just kind of bring it to life in the most incredible way. And then there is of course just like a beautiful love story at the heart of it as well. It's just like an absolute just kind of cacophony of color and music and dance and just like pure emotion. It just, again, like it was just kind of a massive eye-opener for me in terms of like what cinema could do, and how film could just kind of move you, and you know how it can make you feel. Just an absolutely incredible film again that I can watch anytime, anywhere, and it just brings me so much joy. So I would definitely say, look, I'm sure most people maybe have seen Slumdog Millionaire by now, but if you haven't, you just need to stop this video right now and go watch Slumdog Millionaire, because it is just an absolute triumph. It's incredible. Then the next film on the list is one, I didn't see this at the time when it came out back in 2001, but it's one I saw as I got a little bit older. Maybe I was probably in my 20s, I think, when I first saw this film, and again, this was one on my first viewing of this film. It just completely like blew me away, and I've seen it many times since then. It's just an absolutely gorgeous film. And the film in question is A Beautiful Mind. And this one, I actually just noticed, yeah, this one and the previous one I talked about, Slumdog Millionaire, they both won Best Picture in their respective years. So yeah, A Beautiful Mind, starring Russell Crowe, Jennifer Connelly, and Paul Bettany is in there as well. Just a like a beautiful story, but like genuinely one of like the most kind of heartbreaking films I think you'll ever watch. Like a really tough film. I think like if it's one of these kind of ones, if you like kind of struggle with like your mental, with mental illness, or kind of struggle with your mental state, like this is a very kind of heavy going kind of film. But I personally think it deals with the kind of heavy subject matter in a really kind of beautiful way. I feel like maybe I don't know if people might agree with me on that. Obviously people have their own opinions in terms of how you can kind of portray I don't know if like mental illness is the right word, but or kind of like psychological problems, whatever way you want to put it. Obviously people have their opinions on how you should and shouldn't kind of portray that, but I think how they portray the kind of issue in this film, I just think it's done really, really beautifully. And I think the performances in it are just absolutely sensational. I'm kind of hesitant to kind of say too much in case you haven't seen A Beautiful Mind. I know it's like what 24 years old at this stage, but of course if there's anyone that hasn't seen it, I don't want to kind of put a spoiler out there and actually say what's actually going on in the film. So it's definitely one you can kind of go into just a little bit blind, and just kind of let the story kind of take you where it takes you. But yeah, just an absolutely sensational film. For me, I think it's just made that a little extra bit special because of the music score by James Horner, who is my all-time favorite composer. I love his scores. There's just something about this score. I listen to this score like a lot, kind of outside of actually watching the film. It's a score I love to put on. It's just really beautiful, really moving, and like very relaxing. So yeah, this is just like, it's an absolutely incredible film. It's a film like you don't want to watch all the time because, as I said, it's quite heavy, but every time I do watch it, it just completely blows me away. It's just absolutely beautiful, and again, the performances in it are just sensational. So for me, it's just one that when I think about films from this century so far, it's kind of always up there in my mind. And again, I feel like it's one that maybe has kind of fallen by the wayside in terms of films kind of people talk about a lot. I feel like maybe it doesn't get as much kind of credit or as much love as I feel like it deserves nowadays, but I definitely feel like if you either haven't seen it or you haven't seen it in a really long time, again, definitely just check it out and just kind of revisit it, because yeah, it is just an absolutely gorgeous film. And yeah, again, just had to be on my list. And now we go from a very kind of psychologically kind of hard-hitting film to like a visually very, very difficult film to watch. But I think I just think for me, it's just it's just an absolutely incredible film, and one that as hard as it is to watch, I feel like it's one I'm so compelled to watch, because for me personally, the subject matter, the incredible filmmaking involved, and the performances and everything, it's just such a powerful film. This one from 2004, The Passion of the Christ has to be on my list. So yeah, starring Jim Caviezel and directed by Mel Gibson. I know this is I know at the time when it came out, it was really controversial because of kind of how it portrays the passion and of course the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. And yeah, I think a lot of people I think probably a lot of people who are Christians found it really hard to watch because of kind of how violently it portrays the passion and kind of what happened to Jesus when he was betrayed and was going to his death. But also, you know, I think it actually is probably one of the most accurate actually tellings of what actually happened, you know, kind of biblically speaking. And I just think how that's brought to life. I feel like it's done, of course it is very violent, but that was the reality of the situation. But I still feel like it was done very faithfully, and still, of course, would it be Mel Gibson directing, I still think it was done like very kind of respectfully and very true to very true to the kind of the reality of the situation. So I know obviously being a religious film, it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, and like I'm not here to say, oh, you have to watch this, or you know, whatever. But just for me on a personal level, it's a film that really moves me every time I watch it. There's actually a lot of scenes throughout the film that kind of move me at different intervals, because, you know, I just think because it really shows like the reality of the situation and what happened, and just how, yeah, just like how horrible, you know, those, you know, not even if you just take kind of Jesus out of the equation, just how horrible these kind of punishments were that the Romans inflicted on kind of perceived criminals at the time. Really harsh stuff, really violent, very gory, and you know, that was real. That's what they did. So for me, just a very moving film, just portrayed extremely realistically. Every second of this film just feels so real. I think the performance from Jim Caviezel is just, I mean, I feel like he really embodies the character of Jesus. Like he just really gets into it, and he just becomes Jesus on screen. I think he's just the most incredible actor to play Jesus, because obviously he, you know, he's coming at it from the perspective of someone that is a Christian himself. And then I think the portrayal of evil and Satan in this film is something that's still like, I mean, it's just so scary, and it's so haunting. So I feel like it's a film that if you're a Christian, if you're an atheist, if you're agnostic, whatever you might be, or maybe none of the above, I feel like it's a film that you know, you can watch and still follow the story, and see the symbolism, the imagery, everything like that. It's just such a powerful film. And yeah, again, it's just a film. I mean, for me, I do watch it every year. I watch it every Easter. So for me, it is like an absolute staple in my life. As hard as it is to watch, I just feel it's such a powerful piece of filmmaking. And it's a film that I will just continue to watch every year, probably for the foreseeable. So shout out to Stuart over at Stuart George's Home Movies as well, who I know is a big fan of this film as well. So yeah, I'm hoping that when Stuart puts out his video that he has this film on his list as well. But yeah, so this film has to be on my list from 2004, The Passion of the Christ. So then my next pick in my top 10 is another one that I don't really think it needs like too much kind of introduction or conversation, because I feel like this is a very, I mean, it's well known that this is just an absolutely exceptional film, and I think it has a lot of fans here in the community as well. I know Roy again over at Blue Roy Movies talked about this one in his video, and that film is from 2009, and it's Quentin Tarantino's Inglourious Basterds. Yeah, just another film for me. I think that I went to see in the cinema when it came out, and just again kind of became like an automatic staple in my life. It's just an automatic kind of film that I just rewatch over and over and over again. I mean, what can I say about Inglourious Basterds? We just know it's so full of tension, full of suspense. It has one of the greatest movie villains of all time, in Hans Landa, played by Christoph Waltz. I think for me, one of like the funniest scenes in any movie, which is like the Italian scene, and the Buongiorno. That scene is just absolute comedy gold. That just makes me laugh every time I watch it. And I just think, again, like the the music, the kind of the tension in the scenes, the dialogue in the scenes, the performances. I mean, like, I really don't need to say too much about this film. I think we all know just how incredible this film is, and it is just one of the most rewatchable films. I think for me, it's definitely Quentin Tarantino's most rewatchable film, and maybe someone out there might disagree with me, but for me, I just think I can just kind of pick it up at any point throughout the film, and I just have to sit down and watch the rest of it. It is just an absolute, it's just an absolute classic, a modern classic, and yeah, it's just again such an easily kind of rewatch film. Inglourious Bastards, just absolutely incredible. Then my next pick, this one is from 2010, and it is Darren Aronofsky's Black Swan. Yeah, this is, I feel like I kind of always just thought this was just one of the most incredible films I had ever seen. Just an absolutely, just an absolute kind of masterpiece, really, like a psychological masterpiece. But I have a feeling that maybe not everyone in the community is as kind of big on this one as I am. So I'm really curious to hear everyone's thoughts on this film, Black Swan. I know it has, it's kind of one of these ones you either love it or you just hate it, or maybe you just kind of don't get it. But I just think this, again, like, just as I said, like a psychological tour de force, just an absolute masterpiece from start to finish. I feel like it's just yeah, just such a perfectly kind of presented film. Every scene in this film, from start, middle to end, is just absolute like perfection. This being the story of a basically a ballet dancer played by Natalie Portman, who is given her dream role of basically playing the, I think, is it called the Swan Queen in Swan Lake, and her absolute dream role. And basically this story is essentially how this role like consumes her as she kind of practices for this role. She just basically becomes consumed by the kind of character of like the Black Swan. And yeah, I think it's just one of these films, it just has to be seen to be believed. It's just so fast paced. I feel like even the kind of camera work is done in such a way that it just makes you feel just so uneasy all the way through. I just feel like Darren Aronofsky just does not let you kind of rest into this film. It just, you're constantly on edge, you constantly feel uncomfortable. Yeah, it is just, again, just so kind of, I think, psychologically like stressful all the way through. I know maybe you're asking why is this one of my favorites, but I just think you cannot deny how incredible this is. The performances, I mean, Natalie Portman is incredible, and Vincent Cassel is just, oh, he just plays such a bastard in it, but he's just fantastic. Mila Kunis's character is brilliant, she does a fantastic job in her role. Just, yeah, I just absolutely love it. Barbara Hershey is just incredible in it. Again, just everything about this film, I feel like, and especially the ending, how this film kind of all comes together. The ending, I just feel, is just absolutely perfect, and I just feel like it's the ending that we really kind of deserve after kind of all of the stress that we go throughout the film. So yeah, Black Swan, it's just, to me, it's just an absolute masterpiece, and I just feel like I could not leave it off this list. So yeah, definitely please let me know what your thoughts are on Black Swan, again, because I know it's kind of, it's not everyone's cup of tea, but I'm definitely interested in hearing everyone's kind of opinions, even if they're completely different from mine. And then finally, just moving on to the last two picks of my list, the top 10 films of the 21st century. These two are not like necessarily like ubiquitously famous, or kind of very popular, or, you know, kind of very well-renowned kind of films or anything like that, but these are two picks that are pretty like kind of important to me and very kind of personal films to me that came out during this time period that I mean, they're on, you know, my kind of list of like favorite films of all time. So I just couldn't very well leave them out of this list. So the first of which I've actually talked about both these films before, but the first of which is from 2004, directed by Jacob Aaron Estes, and it is the film Mean Creek. Now this film I talked about at length in my video that I did of like kind of movies that made me fall in love with film, and I think that's the reason I love this film so much. Is it really is a film that I kind of discovered just at the right time, when I was kind of like the same age as the characters in the film, and it just really became like a kind of staple film, like a film that I kind of found that I identified with a lot, and a film that kind of got me through like my kind of teenage years. So if you haven't seen Mean Creek or heard of it, it is basically a film about basically a kind of group of kids, and kind of the youngest of the group is being bullied by this character called George, played by Josh Peck. The character who's being bullied is played by Rory Culkin. And essentially the kind of brother and the brother's friends of the Rory Culkin character basically decide to kind of enact revenge on the George character. And by revenge they plan on taking him out onto a river, stripping him naked and throwing him into the river. But kind of, if you do watch the film, you'll kind of learn that things don't go kind of according to plan. And yeah, like I said, this is one of the first films that, I mean, really kind of stood out to me as a young teenager. One of the first films I really kind of found I identified with. I just loved the characters in it. The situation, it was so, I mean, it was kind of, it felt like it was, I guess, kind of told in such like a realistic way that I felt like this kind of as a situation could happen to anyone my age. You know, it's a very kind of moving teen film, independent film, beautiful setting, fantastic performances, great music, just again, just a very kind of personal film to myself, and very kind of nostalgic to me, and just a film that I'm always gonna love. I'm always just gonna kind of treasure this film because of kind of the impact it had on me when I was so young. So for that reason, just Mean Creek just has to be on my list. It's a film that's very close to my heart, and I just could not do a list without including Mean Creek on it. And then my final pick, I think I have a lot of kind of similar reasonings for why I love this film so much, and why it's just one of my all-time favorites. Not just kind of one of my favorites from this century, but just one of my all-time favorite films. And I have to include the film 13 in this list again, as I said, for very similar reasons. It was a film I came to kind of, I was actually probably a little bit younger than the characters in this film. Basically this film, it is a story about basically about a young girl, and kind of how she kind of gets carried away with all of the things that, like, if you're a parent, you just do not want your child getting into, like drugs, underage sex, piercings, you know, talking about tattoos, kind of staying out late, smoking, drugs. I mean, the whole works of everything you just don't want your kid getting into, and kind of showing, I guess, kind of the alluring side of why you would kind of get into that kind of thing as a young person, but also really showing the kind of dark side of that, and how it affects you know, the family, how it affects, you know, school life, interpersonal relationships. I mean, there's just kind of so much to it. What I love about this film is just the incredible performances in it. I mean, just everyone in this film is just doing an absolutely incredible job. The main actress in it is Evan Rachel Wood, and I mean, she just gives a stellar performance as the main character in it. And Holly Hunter plays her mother, and I mean, again, just the performance that she gives is just absolutely out of this world. It's such a realistic film. Like, everything about it just even feels dirty. It feels raw. It feels so realistic. And I just feel like I'm almost kind of watching like a documentary when I'm watching it. Yeah, it's so realistic, so kind of true to life. The dialogue, everything about it just feels so authentic. So again, just for me, I think just the story, kind of how it's constructed, the dialogue, the relationships, the music, everything just kind of comes together, and it just creates just such kind of alluring package. I just absolutely, again, just adore this film, and again, it just brings me back to my childhood, brings me back to my teenage years. You know, how it felt kind of so edgy to kind of watch something like that as a young person, but also kind of seeing the horrors of, kind of what it means for a young person to kind of get into all that kind of thing. And yeah, just a really interesting story to me, and again, just a very personal film, one I will rewatch all the time. Again, it's one I watch definitely once a year, if not more. And yeah, it's just a film I just always kind of relate to. I always go back to it, and again, I just can't imagine a list of my favorite films from this century without including 13. So yeah, just had to be on my list. So yeah, we made it. That was my full list of my top 10 films from the 21st century so far, and obviously my like way too many honorable mentions. So I do apologize for just how long this video has been. Yeah, I'm definitely a rattler, but I really do appreciate you sticking with me. So because this is a tag video as well, of course I have to pass the baton on to some more YouTubers to hopefully maybe take on this tag and make a video with your 10 favorite films from this century so far. Look, if you don't want to do it, that's absolutely fine, but I just said I would put it out there to a couple of fellow YouTubers. So the people I'm going to tag, hopefully, look, if you haven't done it, definitely I would love to see your take on this. So I'm going to tag Marty over at Mad Marty's Movie Reviews. I'm going to tag Alan over at Physical Media Lives, and I'll tag Daniel over at Kiwi at the Movies. So yeah, I would love to see all of your takes on this tag, or just pretty much anyone that is watching this. If you want to make a video, definitely please make one, because these are a lot of fun to watch. So again, big thanks to Ollie for getting the tag started, and thanks to Tim for tagging me in his video. So yeah, that was the video. If you are still watching, thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I will hopefully be back very soon with some more videos, and when I get my movie room set up, I'll have plenty of content to share, so definitely please stick with me. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye.